everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming two looks using the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette. The first one I have for you is this beautifully warm, shimmery duochrome look, and then we're going for this really nice cool tone green. I say cool tone, all the eyeshadows are very neutral in undertone, but in comparison to each other, we have a warm and a slightly cooler look. So this is the beautiful palette. As you can see, we have a mix of matte and duochrome finishes, and again they are all in a neutral undertone. The first look we're going to be creating is the smoky green shade. On a fluffy blending brush, we're working the shade Fleur into the socket. This is a matte shade and it's a golden peach tone. It's beautiful. As you can see, when I use a light hand and a light wash of colour, it's not too dissimilar to my skin tone, but it's a little bit deeper and it is a completely buildable shade. Next we're going in with the shade Paloma. This is beautiful. I'm going to place this on the brow bone and also on the inner corner of the eyes. As you can see, upon first inspection, it is a creamy matte finish, but it also has a very subtle sparkly reflex through it. Next I'm taking this shade called Liberty, which is another matte tone, again very creamy. When you first put it onto the eye, you will find that obviously with any mattes it automatically grabs, but if you keep working it in and you're patient, you will get a lovely seamless blend. So that first shade that we placed in the socket called Fleur was on the socket line and upwards. This shade is also in the socket line, but it's also coming downwards slightly. So we get a nice blend between the two as they meet in the middle of the socket line. That way we get a really nice gradient between the two shades. I'm going to dip the very tip of the bristles into the same shade, and I'm buffing that on the outer third. So from the socket line down to where the eyelash line is, but keeping it on that outer third. This is going to be the base of our smoke. This is what's going to give it a slightly cooler tone. This shade is called Wings, which is a metallic finish. It's a silvery green tone. Now with metallics, they do tend to go on better when you use your finger, but for ease you can also use a brush, and these go on beautifully if you dampen your bristles. So that is on the inner half of the eyelid. Next we're taking the shade Hope and putting that on the outer half of the eyelid, and this one is also a metallic finish. It's a slightly olive green with gold reflex. You guys voted this as your second favourite shade from the palette when I asked you over on Instagram. To line across the lash line, I'm also going to use the eyeshadow from the palette. The shade I'm using is Muse. This is a metallic chocolate brown, and I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills No. 3 pointed brush, and I've dampened the bristles to apply this. You'll see that when you dampen the bristles, you get a little bit more of an intense colour payoff. It also sticks to the eye, so it has more longevity. I'm keeping it slightly thicker on the outer edge and making it thinner as we get towards the inner corner of the eye. As this brush is pointed, you really can create a nice little wing even with eyeshadow. I decided to go back in with the wing shade using my finger for a little bit more of a reflective finish. I am going to be applying some falsies, but I like to go in with a coat of mascara first, so I thought as I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, I might also use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lash Brag Mascara. This one really is lovely. It's a multi-bristled wand. The colour of it is very black, it's very creamy, and it's quite buildable. So as you can see, it really does make the most of your natural lashes. For falsies today, I'm going to use my favourite brand, which is Lash Base. They've launched in the US now, so you guys can definitely take advantage of my discount code, whether you're in the UK, Europe, or the US. You can try these for yourself with a 10% discount. Lash Base are actually a pro lash brand for eyelash technicians that do semi-permanent lashes, so I knew instantly that when they were making the false lashes that they were going to be impeccable, and they really are the most incredible lashes. So to take this a little bit further and make it more smoky, I've applied some brown eyeliner, and now I'm going in with the Liberty shade underneath my lower eyelashes to softly smoke it out. And I'm sure you'll agree with me, it's so lovely and subtle looking that it's not too intense. It's a very soft smoke. So just apply some of the same mascara on your lower eyelashes, and that is the first look done. It's so quick and easy to recreate. I hope you love it. Obviously every step is optional, so you can just change it to suit you however you like. Next we're going to move on to the warmer shade. I'm taking Paloma again and starting off with that on a flat shaded brush on the inner corner of the eye and also the brow bone again. This is such a lovely shade for really brightening that area. It's a nice one that you could use over the top of your concealer. It will set it in place, but it'll also brighten. And then again we are going in with the shade Fleur. This is such a great transitional shade. This time we're going to be applying a couple more layers to really intensify that shade. Be sure to blend each layer before you move on to the next one. That way you'll get a really nice seamless blend. Dipping the bristles into the shade Metro, which is also matte, and it's like a rich clay terracotta shade, and this is going to be buffed onto the outer third of that mobile lid. So we're using the same sort of technique and placement as the first eye look, but we are changing it up for these tones. Using a flat shaded brush to also pat a little bit of fleur over the top so that the blend is softer as it reaches the middle of the eye. The star of the show is this shade called Lily, and this one is a Duochrome rose gold, so it has those beautiful multi-dimensional reflex. And because it is a duochrome, the best way to apply it is with your finger. As you can see, we get this incredible payoff. The placement for this is just on the mobile lid. Next we're going into this metallic blonde gold, which is called Isle, and on a flat shaded brush I'm applying this on the inner third of that mobile lid, and it's just going to create a bit of a soft gradient from a gold into a rose gold. I'm now going in with a clean blending brush and buffing it over the seams so that everything is seamless. Going back into the shade Muse, once again we are going to use this on the pointy crease brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills to create a very soft liner. Now this is going to be a two-step liner unlike the first one, because we are going to apply this chocolatey shade along the lash line first before we go over the top of that with the Metro shade. Because there isn't a slightly lighter brown eyeshadow in the palette, we can actually create our own with a mix of the tones. So this is going to create a softer brown, and it will still darken that lash line, but it will be more fitting to the colours that we're using on the eye. Remember to rotate your brush. You're using the very tip of the bristles to line that inner corner, that way it will be nice and thin. Next I'm going into this pointy crease brush by rephr and the shade Metro, and I'm buffing that into the socket to really start to build this up so we get a bit more shape to the socket line. I'm concentrating that colour on the outer half, then only using what's left on the bristles to pull that forward towards the inner half of the socket. Once again, go in with your clean blending brush to make sure that everything is seamless. I'm going to stick with the same mascara. I wanted to sort of stick with the same lashes and the same mascara so that you guys can see that it's the same look, it's just using different shades. I'll show you what it looks like before we apply anything to our lower half of our eye, because this is a look you could just wear with one coat of mascara on your top lashes. You could also apply a cream along the waterline. This one is by Benefit, and it just takes out any pinky tones. Moving on, underneath the lower eyelashes, I'm stamping the shade Metro very close to the root of the eyelashes. Much like the eyeliner on top, as we get towards the inner half of the eye, we're going to make that slightly softer and not as low down. Follow that off with some mascara. Again, you don't have to apply mascara, but it does create some balance, especially if you're going in with some falsies. This is the same falsies that I've applied on the first eye. This is the Lash Base FP05. And again, don't forget to take advantage of the discount code. So that completes my two looks using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette. I'm going to link everything I've used in the description bar. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to come follow me outside of YouTube over on Instagram, and I'll see you on my next upload. Bye guys!